Hi there, welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's video, we will learn about the lesson The Rat Trap from the class 12 CBSE. So let's look at the overview of the author. So the story Rat Trap, written by the Selma Lagerlöf. She was a Swedish teacher and author, and she has published her first novel at the age of 33 and won Nobel Prize for that. So, The Rat Trap is a Swedish story and tells us that through the love, kindness, and understanding, you can bring about the essential goodness of a person. So, let's look at the first part of the story and understand how the theme acts.
Once upon a time, there was a man who went around selling small rat traps of wire. He made them himself at odd moments from the material he got by baking in the stores or at big farms. So, here in this story, there is a man who used to sell small rat traps. What is the meaning of rat trap? That is a small cage we use home, shop or mill to catch the rats. And that rat trap he used to made by wire and other stuff, and he used to go around to selling this rat trap. So this man made rat traps himself, and he made these rat traps only odd moments, which means a very weird moment, or any time whenever he gets free time round the clock. He used to beg and got that rat trap material from the big farms. But even so, the business was not especially profitable, so he had to resort to both begging and petty thievery to keep body and soul together. So his business was not really fruitful or profitable, so he did not earn enough money by selling the rat traps. He had to resort both begging and petty thievery, and as his business was not profitable at all by selling rat traps, so what he used to do? He used to do other thing, as he used to beg or do petty thievery, like small thefts he used to do. So to keep body and soul together means to live. So in order to live, he used to sell his rat traps, he used to beg, and he used to rob small items from the other place. So this was another way for him to make ends meet. Even so, his clothes were in rags, his cheeks were shrunken, and hunger gleamed in his eyes. So, even so, his clothes were rags. So, what kind of clothes this man used to wear? Rags clothes. So, he had only torn clothes to wear, and his cheeks were deep, very weak. And why is that so? Because he was not getting good nutrition, and his eyes showed everybody that he is very hungry. No one can imagine how sad and monotonous life can appear as such a vagabond who plowed along the road left his own meditation. Own meditation means that means own thoughts. So for this man, life was very miserable, very sorrow, dull and boring, and no one can imagine how his life was. Very sad and monotonous life, which means there is no change, no other movement in his life, and daily routine was as same as usual. So he used to beg, rob, and steal for gathering necessary equipment to make rat traps and sell outside to survive his miserable life. So he was such a vagabond. Vagabond means a person who roams here and there or bags beggars as beggars and walking with the sad thoughts. So no energy at all and just walking and walking very sadly and lost in his own thoughts.
But one day, this man had fallen into a line of thought which really seemed to him entertaining. One day, he was thinking in a different way, and a thought had fallen into his mind, and that thought was so interesting and entertaining. He had naturally been thinking of his rat traps when suddenly he was struck by the idea that the whole world about him, the whole world with its lands and seas, its cities and villages, was nothing but a big rat trap. So he had been usually thinking all about rat trap throughout the day, but that day he got an idea that the whole world, with its lands and seas, its cities and villages, was nothing but a big rat trap. As he used to make and sell rat traps, but on that day, the idea came in his mind that the whole world nothing but it's a big rat trap which hold us inside of it. He had never existed for any purpose than to set baits for people. So here the man is saying that the whole world is existed because it wants to bait for people. That means a different kind of food and other essential things that keep people attracts towards it. It offers riches and joys, shelter and food, heat and clothing, exactly as the rat trap offered cheese and pork. And as soon as anyone let himself be tempted to touch the bait, it closed in on him, and then everything came to an end. So now he is saying money, happiness, shelter, food, and clothing. All these are the baits which offered by the world, and everybody is running behind of it to get it. People dying and killing each other in some situation just because of just they like to do kidnapping, snatching, or other dangerous activities they are doing in their life just because of fulfilling their needs and desires. The world had, of course, never been very kind to him, so it gave him unwanted joy to think ill of it in this way. So here the man is saying that as soon as people run behind of these stuffs, they get inside the rat trap as like as a mouse or other animal, just because of the attraction. So he was not happy at all. How he was leading his life and saying that this world never gave him joy and never been kind to him. So he was very happy in thinking that this is a great idea to think ill about the world in this way, as people are going to be trapped inside of it, so that he is calling the world as big rat trap. It became a cherished pastime of his. So it became a very nice pastime for him. Cherish means something which he loved to do and what he loved to do. So he used to keeping think about the world or about the whole world that this is a rat trap, and then people are going to get into it. During many dreary plodding to think of people he knew who had let themselves be caught in the dangerous snare, and of others who were still circling around the bait. So during his dreary plodding, which means walking along the road, he used to think about the people who had let themselves be caught inside the dangerous snare. So what is the meaning of snare here? Snare means trap or dangerous trap, and other who are still stilling, others who are still circling around it. And what are the thing where people circling? These are the baits in the form of comfort zones. So he kept thinking about the people who have already been caught and other who are waiting for trap by the rat trap called world. One dark evening, as he was struggling along the road, he caught sight of a little grey cottage by the roadside, and he knocked on the door to ask shelter for the night. So one day he was thinking that he was struggling along with the road means walking with difficulties or feeling tired, not able to walk properly due to the poor health condition, and he saw a little grey cottage by the roadside. That means while on his way there was a small house, and he knocked the door. Means he wanted to take some rest inside the house for the night, or he wanted to spend a night as he was struggling along the road. So he was looking forward to get the permission from the owner of the house. Nor he was refused, instead of sore faces which ordinarily met him. The owner, who was an old man without wife or child, was happy to get someone to talk to in his loneliness. So, nor he was refused means he was easily taken inside, as landlord allowed to come inside the house very easily without any question. When he entered inside the house, the man told that the owner of the house was an old man without wife and without child and living alone. And the old man was so happy to allow him inside because he was alone and feeling lonely inside the house. So he was happy to chat someone else as he was feeling alone for the long time. Immediately he put the porridge pot on the fire and gave him supper. As old man was so happy to have someone to talk, and he had a visitor, he put the porridge pot on the fire and gave him supper. So what does the supper demonstrate here? Supper means the meal that people usually having every night. And then he caved off such a big slice from his tobacco roll that it was enough both for the stranger's pipe and his own. He got out an old pack of the cards and played mules with his guest until bedtime. So he cut down the big slice from his tobacco, and both of them started playing cards while smoking tobacco. And how they were smoking? They were smoking using the pipe, which people usually do. As the old man was so happy, and he had a wonderful moment to talk somebody, to playing game someone else, to share pipe of smoking, and he took old pack of card and play Mulis game for some time. Mulis means this is a Swedish card playing game, and the old man enjoying the company of the stranger at the same time until unless they will not go to the bed. The old man was just as generous with his confidence as with his porridge and tobacco. The old man was feeling quite confident as he had a visitor, as a vagabond came here for shelter, and he gave him food and played cards with him and sharing his thought or so on. So he was generous with his confidence. The guest was informed at once that in his days of prosperity his host had been a crofter at Ramsjo Ironworks and had worked on the land. So, due to his overconfidence, the old man had started revealing his secret to the vagabond. And old man said, I had worked with Ramjo's Ironworks. So those days he earned a lot of money and lead a good life. That means the old man told him that he had a land where he worked and earned a lot of money to survive his life. Now that he was no longer able to do day labor, it was his cow which supported him. Yes, that bossy was extraordinary. As the owner of the house got old and he was not able to do hard work. Hard labor means to do really hard work. So he said that the to the backbone that he had a cow and cow gave him milk and he is selling that milk outside and earn money for survival. So yes, that bossy was extraordinary. That means he is referring a bossy as a cow here. She could give milk for the creamery every day, and last month he had received all 30 kroner in payment. So he is saying that his cow is extraordinary and very special, that she gives all milk that is so creamery every day, which requires for making dishes, sweets and other healthy products. And he is selling that milk to the shop owners and earning money from there. So in last month he had earned 30 of kronor. So what is the kronor here? This is a Swedish currency. The stranger must have seemed incredulous, for the old man got up and went to the window, took down a letter pouch which hung on the nail in the very window frame, and picked out three wrinkled 10 krone bill. So by saying this, it was incredulous, it was amazing for the stranger, and it was good news for the vagabond. And then the old man about to show him his earned money. He got up from there and went to the window where his leather pouch hung on a nail in the very window frame, and he picked up three wrinkled 10 kroner bill, that means 30 kroner bill, and it was very wrinkled, which means a very old fashioned. Why? Because of due to keeping inside of the leather pouch. These he held up before the eyes of his guest, nodding knowingly, and then stuffed them back into the pouch. The next day both men got up in good season. So he, the old man, showed his money to the vagabond and put money back to the pouch. So he showed him money knowingly, as the old man already aware that the man who is sitting inside, he is just a visitor. They got up early in the morning. So good season means early in the morning. The crofter was in a hurry to milk his cow, and the other man probably thought he should not stay in bed when the head of the house had gotten up. So as he can see that the crofter had head of the house woken up early in the morning, and the vagabond thought that probably I should get up from the bed. The old man was in a hurry to get the milk and looking forward to go cow shed. They left the cottage at the same time. The crofter locked the door and put the key in his pocket. So here both crofter and vagabond got up and left the cottage together. That means they went outside for doing their own businesses. So as the crofter was in a hurry to go cow shed, and the vagabond took his own way to go somewhere. The crofter locked his house and took the key in his pocket. The man with the rat trap said goodbye and thank you, and thereupon each went his own way. So in the end, rat trap seller said to crofter goodbye and thank you for your hospitality, and they both went to the and both they went to their own ways. But half an hour later, the rat trap battler stood again before the door. He did not try to get in, however. So, as both crofter and rat trap seller took their own ways to go, but half an hour, the rat trap seller came back to the house door, and his intention wasn't to go inside the house. He only went up to the window, smashed a pan, stuck in his hand, and got hold of the pouch with the 30 kroner. So we can understand why Rattrap came back to the house again after half an hour. So Rattrap's seller wanted to steal that money which the old man showed him last night. So he hit the pane of the window and put his hand inside of it and took out the pouch with the 30 kroner. He took the money and thrust it into his own pocket. Then he hung the leather pouch very carefully back in its place and went away. So took the money he took the money and put in his own back pocket forcefully, and he put the pouch in its place very carefully and went away from there. As he walked along with the money in his pocket, he felt quite pleased with his smartness. So he was very happy with the joy while walking that he was good. He has a good money and in his pocket, so that he can buy anything like food or other thing for making a rat trap, and also pleased, also happy with his smartness that how cleverly he stole the money from the old crafter house. He realized, of course, that at first he dared not to continue to the public highway but must turn off the road into the woods. As he had a lot of money in his pocket, so he decided, I might be caught by someone else, so I should not to take public highway but must turn off the road, which means through the forest or other way where he can hide himself from the others. During the first hour, this caused him no difficulty. So during the first hour, this caused him no difficulty. That means nobody seen him, as there is a man who have lot of money in his pocket, and somehow he saved himself from the public eye in first hour. Later in the day, it became worse, for it was a big and confusing forest which he had gotten into. He tried, to be sure, to walk in a definite direction, but the path twisted back and forth so strangely. So as he was walking freely without facing any difficulty, but later it became a very worse for him, and he saw a very dense forest which he had gotten into and got confused which direction I need to follow to go other side of the forest. Even he tried to find out the right direction but got confused. So whichever path he was following, it twisted back and forth so strangely. That means getting confused all the time, that every path is showing two ways to go, and he got confused which path I have to follow. He walked and walked without coming to the end of the wood, and finally he realized that he had only been walking around the same part of the forest. But he continued to walk and walk, but he realized that he was walking around the same area back and forth, and he was not going any further. So even following direction, even changing the direction to go, he just coming away or coming back to the same area. All at once he recalled his thoughts about the world and the rat trap. Now his own turn had come. So suddenly he fall into an thought about the world and the rat trap. And what was the thought? That was the whole world is a rat trap, and in the form of comfort. So people running behind of the comfort and others are circling around it. Now his own turn had come. That means earlier he was thinking for people, but now he had fallen into the rat trap, which is the world. He had let himself fooled by a bait and had been caught. So due to baits, he himself was caught into the rat trap. And why he himself was caught into the rat trap? Just because of a 30 krona bills of the crofter. So those 30 krona bills are the baits in which he was attracted to it, and now he has caught inside the forest. So I hope you liked the video. Let's look at the second part of the lesson in my next video. For more informative video, do subscribe my channel and like and share. So thank you so much for watching.